Am I the a-hole for letting my dad think I was missing and causing him to be disowned? This happened in 2020, but it recently got brought up, so I thought I'd ask. I, 17F, used to have a great relationship with my stepmother. I genuinely saw her as a mother figure in my life, and I was so excited when she found out she was pregnant. But everything changed in 2020 when I had to stay with my dad during the lockdowns because my mom, a surgeon, was dealing with the pandemic. At first, everything was normal until my stepmother, Tammy, was about 4 months pregnant. She started snapping at me for no reason. Things that didn't bother her before now annoyed her. I wasn't messy or loud, and I always respected the rules, but no matter what I did, she got angry. It got to the point where she couldn't stand being in the same room as me. I remember staying in my room most of the time, only coming out to do chores or get food. Even then, Tammy would get mad. One day, she came into my room furious, claiming it smelled so bad it was making her sick. The only mess was a half-eaten bag of chips. When I pointed that out, she burst into tears. As usual, my dad babied her, excusing her behavior by saying the lockdown, pregnancy, and not seeing her family were stressing her out. My mental health took a massive hit. I felt like trash, constantly worried that my dad would throw me away, and I was terrified my mom would get sick. My anxiety got so bad that my hair started falling out. The breaking point came when I was sitting at the kitchen table, waiting for my cereal to go soggy. Tammy walked in, huffing and complaining about the mess in the spotless kitchen. She then grabbed my bowl and threw it in the bin. I snapped. I yelled at her, calling her an abusive witch and asking what her problem was. My dad ran in, got between us, and she demanded I leave the house, saying I couldn't be near her kid. My dad walked me to my room and said something that ruined our relationship forever. He told me I must be doing something to Tammy because no one hates a kid for no reason. He warned that if I kept stressing her, I'd have to move out. That night, I made a social media post asking if anyone had a place for me to stay and explained the situation. I packed a bag and climbed out of my bedroom window. We live in a bungalow. About 30 minutes later, my phone started blowing up, but I turned it off and went to a friend's house. I texted my mom from my friend's phone, letting her know everything. She didn't call for 7 hours because she was in surgery, but she said my aunt would pick me up the next day. My mom informed my dad that I was okay and staying with my aunt for 2 weeks until she could come home. Apparently, Dad and Tammy went door to door to family and friends' houses looking for me. After I made the post, they got a lot of flack. To this day, my grandparents still don't speak to him. My aunt packed up my room because I refused to go back to that house. I haven't spoken to my father in years, nor have I met my half-brother. Tammy and Dad still try to fix our relationship, claiming sometimes pregnant women irrationally hate people or pets for no reason. Now, I'm about to turn 18. And a cousin's girlfriend asked if I was inviting my dad to the party. When I told her the story, she said that while what they did was wrong, what I did was an a-hole move because I made them worry and stress by going to multiple houses during a pandemic. She said it put a pregnant woman with mental health issues at risk. So, am I the a-hole for letting my dad think I was missing? Physical trauma you've gone through until you tell your cousin their girlfriend isn't invited anymore since she's not good for your mental health. If you want to, she sent me a text a while ago because my cousin told her off. I took some advice here and said if she still felt I was a bad person for my actions, she shouldn't attend my birthday party, and I'll let everyone know the reason. Then she began apologizing. Now for the first update. I'm going to call my cousin's girlfriend Sarah and my cousin Paul. So, I mentioned in a comment that I uninvited Sarah from the party yesterday. Paul came over to talk. He told me Sarah had issues in the past with her younger siblings. It was apparently really bad, like her siblings lived with her mom full-time, and she lived with her dad. Long story short, Sarah was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in college and went to therapy. He said even though she's apologized, her siblings still won't have anything to do with her, which breaks her heart. Paul said Sarah told him that when I told her what happened, it triggered her because it reminded her of her situation with her siblings. I didn't mention this in the other post because it was irrelevant to what I was asking, but Sarah texted me about letting go, sending links to sites about family members with mental health issues, numbers of family therapists, and even subreddits on here. He told me Sarah wanted to meet up to clear the air and apologize in person. I said okay. Sarah texted about half an hour later about picking me up because she wanted to drive to a new restaurant that had just opened in the next town over as her pre-birthday treat to me. We know what she was planning, but Tammy ruined it for her by calling my mom to tell her Sarah's plan to help us make up. I wrote my dad a letter 2 days ago as many of you suggested. I put everything in there and told him how it affects me to this day. I told him I wanted a relationship with my brother, but I wasn't sure if I'd ever want one with him. I told him to leave me alone because his actions were only pushing me further away. If I ever decide I want to talk to him, it will be on my terms with my mom present. The letter ended up being 5 pages long, and you guys were right, it did make me feel better. My mom dropped it off that day, and Dad asked to meet her a day later. They talked about me meeting my brother, and my dad said he wants to buy me a car, no strings attached. They, Tammy and Dad, also asked if it would be okay to give me money to get myself something for my birthday. You're going to hate me for this, but I'm taking the car and money. If he wants to give me more, he can because college supplies and moving into a dorm are expensive. Back to Sarah. She basically contacted Tammy via Facebook. Tammy sent my mom the screenshots, telling her everything I had said, then asking Tammy for her side because Sarah didn't believe me. To Tammy's credit, she told the truth and took full accountability. It was Sarah who kept trying to make Tammy out to be the victim. Sarah told Tammy about her own past and said she wanted to mend our relationship. Tammy told her she didn't want that. The last message was Sarah telling Tammy the location and time for a meetup at a restaurant and even saying she'd drive me so I couldn't leave. Even though I could just ask a waitress for help or call my mom. My mom posted the screenshots into the group chat and called Sarah a bunch of names, telling her if she ever came near me again, she'd regret it. I blocked Sarah and left the group chat, so I don't know what happened afterward, but Paul came over with my aunt and swore he knew nothing about it. To be honest, I don't know if I believe him because he was trying to defend Sarah again, which got him a verbal lashing from my aunt and mom. That's it, really. I'll update in a few months to let you guys know how everything goes with my brother. I feel like I owe everyone that after so many people helped me take that step. Honestly, words can't describe how happy it's made me, literally the best birthday present I could have gotten. Thank you so much for the amazing advice and people sharing their own experiences, even the women who suffered from mental illness. Tammy did help me understand it a bit more, but I still can't forgive her. I don't think we can ever rebuild our relationship, especially not to what it was. Look up the term transference. This is what Sarah is doing. She's over-identifying with Tammy because she herself ruined her family relationships due to her mental illness and is trying to find her own redemption through manipulating your circumstance. But now you know, never, ever get in a car with her, not you driving her, and certainly not her driving you. Never give her the opportunity to be alone with you or communicate in any way other than text so you have it all in writing for your family. Tell your brother to make sure she stands down. Your situation is not her situation, and she needs to stay in her lane. Paul's my cousin. My brother is a toddler. But you don't have to tell me twice about keeping away from Sarah. If she comes near me again, I'm going to call the police. As far as I know, Tammy told my mom that she told Sarah to keep away from her too. Paul should end things with her, she is dangerous. Sarah's extremely beautiful, like model-level beautiful. And even though I love Paul, he's my oldest cousin, a beautiful girlfriend means more to him than a healthy relationship. Now for the last update, short version, I turned 18 3 days ago, had a great time, met my brother, Sarah tried to get in contact with me again, and I've spoken to my father and Tammy. It's easier to break everything down,